one of my first projects is I created something called Everlasting Roses. People love roses, but oftentimes their beauty doesn't last very long as they then die off. People want lasting beauty. And so that's why I ended up creating my first product to be an everlasting rose. And it was super successful. Anything that you do, there's going to be a what, how, and why. People don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it.
What is up, Action Taker? Welcome back to After Hours Entrepreneur, your guide to the first six-figure year of your business. I'm your host, Mark Savant, and today we're coming to you live from South Florida, the Levan Center at NSU, Nova Southeastern University here in Davie, Southeast Florida. This recording took place during the Space Day event here, which is a merging of private and public, all coming together to innovate around the science and business of space. And one of the things that I think is really important as entrepreneurs is that we're always looking to the skies, both figuratively and literally, because innovation, my friends, is where all the gains are going to come from. So in this episode and this series of episodes, you're going to be hearing from students, entrepreneurs, business folks, people in government, and we're going to be sharing all the ways that you can leverage the industry of space to grow your business and grow your income. With all that said, let's get into this fresh episode here of the After Hours Entrepreneur, which is provided to you by podcast production agency Mark Savant Media. You can go to www.marksavantmedia.com to launch your profitable podcast today. All right, let's get into the episode. Nicholas, what's up?
Hey, doing good.
Good. It's good to have you here. Nicholas is very clever because as he sat down, he said, "You're a savant and I'm a wise man." So we're in the right place, I think.
I feel like it will make for a great conversation. We can learn.
I think so too, because you're actually a student here at the NSU campus.
Yes.
Right. So tell me a little bit about that. What are you studying here at NSU?
So I'm an entrepreneurship major with minors in venture creation as well as social innovation and sustainability.
Okay. And what is it, listen, when I think about entrepreneurship, I typically think about going out, getting my hands dirty, and just doing it. I don't really think about I need to go to school to learn how to be an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. What do you say to that?
So I would honestly typically agree with that mentality, very much so. However, the reason why I ended up coming here to go to school for the entrepreneurship program is that they have a really unique program that kind of allows you to get your feet wet without having to take that fiscal and emotional and just life-wise risk that could jeopardize you.
Sure.
A part of the HBIA program, which is the Huizinga Business of Innovation Academy, I get to, in the first year, I have to have an internship. Second year, I'm creating an idea. And third year, which is the year that I am right now, I am on campus creating a business that they give me a loan and will hopefully at the end of it give me a grant for to start that business up. And so that allows me to, first off, come up with an idea, be around a crowd of like-minded people, and allow me to start my business with the supervision of trained experts as well as teachers and faculty that are all here to help me out.
Love it. Love it. And obviously, this is a great resource. Being here on campus, there are just tons and tons of people here, all with that entrepreneurial mindset. You mentioned that, and I like this a lot, you're actually building a business as part of your program.
Correct.
So what's the business that you're trying to grow here, and how did you fall upon that idea?
Okay. So the business that I'm running right now is a business called Tomorrow Technologies 3D. And so the idea behind it is that there's a few core values that will be like the first things that you can get to know about me. I love helping others. I love creating things and inventing. And I love to solve problems. So what that ended up doing is I was looking at industries, and I was seeing that, wow, the industry of additive manufacturing, this process of 3D printing is an amazing field that has aspects in all of the future aspects of what we're going to do in the future life of how to make things. And I want to learn more. And I realized that some of the printers that they had were actually, even for me, who's a college student that practically doesn't have much of a dime to my name, was actually able to afford, given the loans and the sustainability efforts of my class that I'm a part of. And so with the school in hand, I was able to then build out this business of creating a business that can help others with 3D printing products for businesses, clubs, and students.
Okay, so how does that look, right? So 3D printing, super cool technology, by the way. Side note, very interesting, very exciting. I remember going back, 30 years. I was at Miami Metro Zoo, and they have this little wax thing where you click the button.
I remember those.
And it creates this like little wax animal. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever.
I have a dinosaur of that exact thing.
It's so cool. And you get to watch it get crafted right in front of you. It was so amazing to me. The fact that I can access that, in my home or in my workspace is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to, because I would imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, do you have to sell people? Do you have to sell businesses? Do you have to sell manufacturers on the technology? Or are you going to someone that already is implementing 3D printing and saying, we can make it a lot better?
So basically what I'm doing is that there's 3D printing companies that have made the technology for 3D printing. Okay. And then I'm using the filaments, which right now I'm using one that's called polylactic acid, or better known as PLA. And I am then 3D modeling or using models to create unique products or custom designs for people. So like one of my first projects, when I was first, we had to do a test run of our business to see if it would work viably. And so what I did is I created something called Everlasting Roses. And they were 3D printed roses that a lot of times on Valentine's Days, or even not on Valentine's, just any time, people love roses, but oftentimes their beauty doesn't last very long as they then die off. Right. And I mean, that's just one of those things that people want lasting beauty. And so that's why I ended up creating my first product to be an everlasting rose, and it was super successful.
How did you market it? How did you bring that to people? Did you target men on Valentine's Day? Did you target women? How did you bring it to market?
So what I did is the way I executed it is that in the DeSantis Center, which is the building that we have for our entrepreneurs and business sector, and I then just set up shop right there next to the elevators.
Okay.
And on Valentine's Day, I sold as much as I could. I ended up on that testing day, I had 30 roses to sell because it was just a testing day. I ended up selling 90 roses with almost over almost 70 of them were pre-orders that I then had to fill out later on. And I'm actually still selling more roses now, even though it's not in season. And I'm a lot of my stuff is seasonal. So I'm currently about to make some pumpkins for the Halloween stuff. And one of my biggest projects that I'm currently working on is I am making a life-size Captain America shield, in which I'm then going to be doing a trivia night and game day where people can enter for a chance to win the Captain America shield.
Wow, this is really cool. What happens next, right? Because obviously you can't scale Nicholas being on campus selling roses hand to hand. How do you scale that up?
Right. So honestly, that's been something I've been trying to think of. 3D printing, whereas is something that I felt is the step in the door, it's not the end-all be-all of where I want to be.
Okay.
The reason why I got into it is because it will teach me the skills and the kind of the market that I want to be in. Because like I said earlier on, I want to problem solve. I want to be able to create and then implement business ideas. I have a lot of really cool ideas that I want to be able to get out, but I don't have the funds nor the skill level yet to implement them yet. And so that is why I'm here at the school taking the time to learn the skills I need, gain the practice and actual like experience of starting a business, and then taking that to the next level as I go forward. So,
well, I mean, the 3D printing thing sounds pretty good. Do you have like a
Exactly.
website, or do you have a way to automate sales and production and distribution?
So I literally started 4 weeks ago. So I am currently, a website has been made, but again, I don't have much money, and so I have not, even though I have the domain for it, it's like $200 or more to then create and kind of merge the domain with the website.
Yep.
I'm currently about to start an Etsy page. And
Yep,
so
yep.
I will be doing that pretty soon with the products that I make for custom designs. And again, I'm hoping to be able to then take custom orders, and if I get big enough, even start implementing a service space where people can come to use me almost like a makerspace.
Yeah.
This is kind of a sort of a vision, but not one that I may or may not implement, which is kind of an idea of I'm actually in a franchise management course, and one of the ideas with that would be to take like one of the food restaurants or like a coffee cafe like a Starbucks, for instance, and merge it with like a makerspace where the idea behind it was merging the biological fuel with the innovative fuel that goes on. So like having like a coffee shop with a makerspace merged in, and I feel like it could become like a new workspace for many people, and I feel like that could help bring a community of solving innovative problems. And it's part of like what I find so amazing about like the place we're in today, like with the Innovation Center. I find it very fascinating because they're doing exactly kind of what like I want to do in life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's definitely, I think, especially for young entrepreneurs, trying, testing, failing, learning, re-executing. And that's one of the things that I really like about what you're doing here at NSU with the Huizenga Business School of Innovation. You're actually getting in there and you're getting your hands dirty, because you just can't really learn to be an entrepreneur without getting your hands dirty. Mm-hmm. Perfect example. Growing up, I took years and years of Spanish. Mm-hmm. Years and years of Spanish. I couldn't speak any Spanish.
Yep.
Okay. 2 months working in a restaurant, I was speaking Spanish, baby. Yo comprendo.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I just really feel like that's what's important, is getting in there, getting your hands dirty, actually selling. Mm-hmm. It's great to have all these great ideas, but until you've actually sold something, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
You have a point on that?
I was going to say, to like mentioning like getting your hands dirty, to give a little bit more experience for my past and what kind of led me to the journey where I'm at now is when I was 14, I ended up starting a nonprofit called The Outlet. And it was the way that it was designed, it was called The Outlet because I wanted to bring the community to where they needed help, as well as bringing people to those that wanted to help. And so me and like a group of us, like probably about 12 of us at the start, was in the community of Lake Wales, like I mentioned, and we just started to go out to people that asked for help. And so that kind of goes into like, I love creating innovations, but I also love to help people. That was like the main building block of like what I wanted to do here. And so for like 6 years, we ended up working on that, and like it was like really cool. So like one of the things I just got to recently do is I got to go on a 150-mile canoe challenge. And we raised over $150,000 because I had a friend that I was working with in the outlet that is trying to make a water park for people with disabilities.
Oh, that's great.
And his motto is like getting people off of the deck and into the fun.
Yeah.
And so like I want to be a part of that. If you know, like a lot of people like care about their legacy and stuff like that. I don't necessarily care about like fame or fortune, but I do care that at the end of the day, there's Bach Tower, which is at Lake Wales.
Yep.
And one of the things is make the world a bit better or more beautiful because you lived in it. And that was by Edward Bach, who was the founder of the tower.
Sure.
And I kind of live by that now, is I want to make the world a little bit better because I've lived in it. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do back then and now what I'm trying to do now.
Hey, good for you, Nicholas. I think that's awesome, amazing, and actually, from a business perspective, pretty practical. You know, because it's not just I sell widgets, it's I want to make the world a better place, right? When you can combine mission, impact, legacy, in with a great product and service, I think that's when you can really hit pay dirt on an entrepreneurial business. I think of companies like Tom's, for example. For every sock you buy or for every shoe you buy, we're going to give away a shoe. Like that's a powerful selling point, I think. Nicholas, before we get into the rapid fire,
All right.
Where's the best place for us to find you?
So you can first off find me, like I mentioned, on the Tomorrow Technologies 3D on Instagram. You can also, if you just want to find me personally, I am _ the Wise Hero. And so that's always been, that was my gamer tag for like literally since I probably was like 10. But it's always stuck with me, and I really like it. So yeah,
Cool.
Those are the two places you can find me the most. As I said, I'm currently trying to build up a website. And in person, I am at the Shark Cage at Mako Hall at Nova from 10 to 2, Monday through Friday.
Cool. Rock and roll, lock and load. Nick, you ready for the rapid fire?
Sure am.
All right. Drum roll, please. Nicholas, what's the scariest movie you've ever seen?
So I am honestly not that scared of movies that much. Like I've watched horror movies, and so, I mean, if anything, I will probably have to go back to childhood. And I don't know why, but The Nightmare Before Christmas, when I was like 6 years old, that boogeyman scene, I hated it. So since then, like I haven't got scared too much of movies, but I hated that scene. It gave me nightmares.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, that's a good place to go, bro. Going back to the childhood. That's when things are it's kind of funny. The things that scare us are like, why was I scared of that?
Exactly.
It's so silly. If you could be any kind of animal, what would you be?
I would be an axolotl. I love those creatures, and mainly because I find them very fascinating. So, like, a lot of things that is coming into fruition for new technologies is in a lot of, like, the genetics side. And one of the things I find very fascinating is axolotls have the highest, healing rate out of anything. They can, like, literally almost have anything chopped off, and they can actually come back. And so, again, like, I really love innovation, and I could just see a future where anyone could be able to actually heal from either, like, stem growth from, like, genetic engineering of axolotl DNA, which I think would be a really cool thing, and is actually something that people are still looking for. But, however, there's only 1,000 of them left on Earth right now.
Wow. Yeah. It's like kind of like 3D printing your arm or exottling your arm. That might be the next thing, who knows. If you could sit next to anyone on a plane, who would you sit next to?
So I'm actually going to go back to the person you just talked to earlier. I have two people.
Okay.
And the first one I want would be a guy named Simon Sinek.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Sure.
But he is a motivational speaker that I've just really enjoyed. He has what's called the Golden Circle.
Yep.
And his whole thing is that anything that you do, there's going to be a what, how, and why. And if you want to reach out to people, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And that stuck with me. When I heard that probably 6 years ago, and I have followed him ever since on that, because I find that just so true. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And so that is what I've tried to do, is I want to be someone that people will want to purchase from me, not from what I give them, but because of the things that I'm trying to impact on.
Love it.
And then the other person would be Richard Feynman.
Okay.
And that's because I really love physics, and like we have the space day here today. Like before I was going to become an entrepreneur, I actually did a hard shift, because originally I was going to go into aerospace engineering. I was originally wanting to be working with NASA. That was like the goal I had set for myself. And then kind of at like the last minute, when I was looking around the schools I wanted to go to, I saw this program for the Heising Business Innovation. And I was like, that's where I need to be.
Dig it. Super cool. Super cool. Nicholas, if you had 10 seconds with yourself 10 years ago, what would you say?
Well, I think that there's a lot to learn from all the different things. First off, like, stocks or cryptocurrencies and stuff like that. 10 years ago, you can do a lot with 10 seconds on that.
Yeah,
it's
like, hey, buy Bitcoin,
buy this.
Quick.
Yeah, like do that. But then also like, I would just probably say to them is like, stay true to who you are. Like that. That is honestly your question that you ask is something I try to make sure I ask myself every day, so I don't stray away from who I want to be. Because I feel like that's something like, you actually like, you said what's the scariest movie, and like, for me, like I'm not very fearful of most things, but what I am afraid of the most is the thing that will often hurt you the most is yourself. If you don't watch who you are, you will end up hurting yourself a lot. And so like, in the 10 seconds that I would have with that person, even just for a little bit, just noting to make sure that you are doing good and staying true to who you are and making sure that who you are already is someone that's making someone better. And like a lot of times people go after selfish things. One of my favorite books is called It's Not About You. And I think that like it had a lot of life lessons to get from that I would also want to implement to that person.
Damn. Well, listen, if you stay true to yourself, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. Nicholas, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Boom. I hope you enjoyed this episode of After Hours Entrepreneur. Thank you for subscribing, and we will catch you here next time on the show. Listen, we've given you the tools. Now it's your turn. Go take the action. See you soon. Peace.